Hey guys, Ross from Natural Aesthetics here. In this video we're going to look at a literature review titled The Effects of Resistance Training Frequency on Muscle Hypertrophy and Strength in Healthy Trained Individuals. So essentially a literature review is a compilation of very similar studies that look at a particular topic and to see if any conclusions can be made about that or any trends can be seen in the results from these particular studies. So this guy that did the literature review found 5 studies that all looked at the frequency of training and how it impacted strength and muscle hypertrophy. So the inclusion criteria for this review were healthy trained individuals, trained referred to over 1 year of resistance training experience. Exclusion criteria were studies that examined either untrained or obese individuals as participants. The reason being that these were excluded because they could have produced different results than the trained guys and the healthy athletes. The physiological adaptations would be different, so it would make the results much weaker. Now let's look at the 5 studies that this guy analyses and compares. So here we go. The first one in 2014 to compare hypertrophic and strength responses in 2 groups performing different routines. No difference in muscle size between training 3 times per week and once. Massive limitation of this study was that each group had a different routine. So it renders the results of this particular study quite weak because, of course, each routine may have been better or worse than another routine. So it can completely throw off the results. The same guy did for a similar study in 2015 to specifically examine the influence of resistance training frequency on muscular adaptations in well-trained men. It was found that training 3 days per week was superior to once per week. Group that trained 3 times a week gained more muscle and got stronger. Again, another limitation is the type of routine the participants did before. It may have impacted the subsequent physiological adaptations having started the high frequency training. Depending on what they did before, it can kind of throw the results off a little perhaps. The third study in 2003 examined the high resistance training with planned overreaching with and without supplementation of amino acids. It was found that the group overreached by increasing RT frequency, resistance training frequency, got bigger and stronger than the group that trained only 1 muscle per day a week. So guys following a typical bodybuilding split, which is really interesting to see. The possible limitation of this study was that the athletes were supplemented with amino acids, which may have impacted the recovery levels of the athletes, and we might not have perhaps seen as good as a result if the guys hadn't been supplementing with amino acids. The 4th study in 1990 to see how training frequency would affect strength. 4 and 5 days per week was superior to 3 days per week. Endurance was also trained and tested, which can interfere. Obviously, if you're training for endurance as well as training for hypertrophy and strength, it's going to really impact the possible adaptations that can take place from the training, because training has to be specific, remember. So the 5th study in 2000 to compare weightlifters training at different frequencies with matched volume. Now that's very, very important. All these studies were matched volume, so regardless of the training frequency they used per week, the volume at the end of the week had to be the same, which is important. If the volume is different, then it's going to really throw off the results, because we know that volume is such a powerful driving force in muscular adaptations to resistance training. It was found that training muscle 3 times per week was superior to once per week. However, very low resistance training total volume. So perhaps with a greater total weekly volume, we would have seen different results. Nevertheless, that's 4 out of 5 studies that demonstrates that a higher training frequency will yield better returns in terms of muscular strength and hypertrophy than a lower training frequency. And as I said, it's very, very important to analyse these studies with a matched training volume. Without that, it renders these studies useless. So just food for thought, guys. It's hopefully tickled your taste buds, and you'll be interested in perhaps doing a bit more research yourselves and finding out how to further your development as a natural bodybuilder or strength enthusiast, whatever particular reason you train. There's information out there that can possibly help you, or at the very least open your minds to different protocols. So thanks for watching, stay tuned for more. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more natural bodybuilding videos, stay strong.